Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
ازيك يا دكتور يوسف؟
الحمد لله يا مستر. فين؟ الحمد لله.
دكتورة لوجي عاملة ايه؟
مستر،
ايه يا
هو احنا
دكتور؟
وصلنا فين في 6.3؟
هو انا فاكر اللي انا قلته، معرفش بقى انتوا خدتوا حاجة من يعني السيشن اللي انا ما دخلتوش الاخير ده ومس هاجر دخلته، فمعرفش انتوا خدتوا ايه.
يا مس هاجر هي اللي دخلت لنا؟
اللاست سيشن انا كان عندي ريفيجن يير 9 اي جي فما عرفتش اخش.
طب لو ينفع انت بقى حضرتك
وبص هو انا
كمل لنا عن اللي
جايب
انت قلته.
اخر حاجة انا واقف عندها، بس انا هكمل اللي انا قلته، معرفش بقى في جديد ولا لا.
انت حضرتك اخر حاجه قلتها اللي هي كانت يوم الاثنين اللي قبل العيد، صح؟
اللي هي الاكسبيرمنت بتاعت مندل،
ايوه بالظبط كده.
ما انا جايب عندها اهو، ما تقلقش.
شكرا يا مستر.
اوكي. As we explained before, Mendel is the father of heredity, and we explained the meaning of heredity and differentiate between the traits, types of traits, and we said that we have two types of traits. Who remember these two types? محمد حاتم.
مستر انا مش كنت موجود الحصه اللي فاتت.
Last one.
ايه
اخر سيشن قصدك يعني؟
يا مستر، ولا قبليها حتى برضه مش كنت موجود.
طيب اوكي.
مستر انت حضرتك ممكن تقول السؤال؟
حاضر يا يوسف. What are the two types of traits and what is the difference between both of them? Jamal, do you remember?
inherited
يوسف wait.
حضرتك سألتني.
لا انا بسأل جمال. جمال you hear me? Okay. Okay يوسف go on.
inherited وواحدة تانية كده مش فاكرها، اللي هي بتبقى اللي هي زي السكيلز، يعني اللي هي بتبقى we can take it from the practice أو حاجة زي كده، مش فاكر اسمها بالظبط بس يعني عارف الديفينيشن بتاعها.
حبيبة.
inherited دي اللي هي زي الجينيتكس، ده الاي كولر، السكين كولر كده يعني.
Okay. حبيبة. Do you remember the other type of traits?
Yes.
Okay. What is the other type of traits?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Luigi,
Yes,
do you remember the other type of trait?
I don't remember.
Okay.
يبقى مستر الديفينيشن بتاعي صح طيب ولا غلط ولا ايه؟
Yes, and your explanation is right. I know, but I need the name, the scientific name of the other trait. Okay, we have two types of traits. The first type, heredity traits, which inherited It's called heredity traits, not inherited, Yusuf. Heredity traits. The other type is called acquired traits. Acquired traits. Acquired traits. And this type of traits not inherited from generation to another. You got it?
Yes.
So the first type is heredity traits and the other type acquired traits. And you must know that Mendel experiments explain heredity traits or acquired traits.
Hereditary.
Heredity traits, not acquired traits. Okay. And Mendel discovered that the heredity traits are transmitted from generation to another or from parents to their offspring through what? Through what? فرح. Farah, do you hear me? Yusuf Nasser.
No.
The heredity traits transmitted from the parents to their offspring through what? Do you understand the question?
The
Okay. When I say that you have the same hair color as your father, okay? So this trait is inherited from your father. Heredity traits, clear?
Clear.
This trait, hair color, transmitted from your father to you through what?
Genes.
Genes, excellent. And the genes carried by what? The genes carried by what? Repeat, please.
Chromosome.
Chromosomes. So when I ask you the heredity traits transmitted from generation to another or from parents to their offspring through what? What is your answer?
Chromosome.
Chromosomes. Okay. So Mendel discovered that the traits which inherited from generation to another carried by factors, and then scientists named these factors with chromosomes. Again, Mendel said that the traits which inherited from parents to their offspring or from generation to another transmitted through factors. Two factors, one inherited from male and the other one inherited from female. After the era of Mendel, the scientists named this factor with chromosomes, called these factors chromosomes. So we inherited that trait from our parents through two chromosomes or homologous chromosomes or pair of chromosomes. One inherited from male, other one inherited from female. It's clear? It's clear, guys. Any question about this point?
No, Mister, it's okay.
Okay. Next point, we are going to explain the Mendel experiment. We said that Mendel chose the pea plant for his experiments. Why? For many reasons, like what? The pea plant reproduce quickly, take short time, produce many number of offsprings. The flower, which considered as the reproductive organ of the flowering plants, is a flower of pea plant, hermaphrodite or bisexual. Bisexual means this flower of pea plant contains male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ in same flower. Bisexual, I will write it. Bisexual means have the both reproductive organs of male and female in same flower. So this type of pea plant flower allow the two types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. What is the meaning of pollination? Pay attention, please. For producing zygote in case of animal or the formation of baby, the two sex cell, male and female sex cell, must fuse together or mate each other, and this process is called fertilization. Fertilization means the fusion between male gametes and female gametes to form zygote and then be a baby. In case of plants, the fertilization of plants means the male sex cell goes to female sex cell or transfer to female sex cell. Again, fertilization in plants occurs through transmitting of pollen grains, which is considered as the male sex cell, to the female sex cell. Okay? In case of, we have two flowers like this. Pay attention, please. Like this flower. This pea plant and their flowers, okay? And this pea plant and its flower. In case of the male sex cell, which is pollen grains, transfer from this flower to this one, this is called as cross-pollination. Cross-pollination. Cross-pollination means transfer of pollen grains from flower to another one. From flower to another one. Another one, but in same species. From pea plant flower to another pea plant flower. Not another species of plant. The other kind of pollination, self-pollination. As you can see by this green color, we have many flowers on the same plant, right? When this flower transfer its pollen grains to the same plant, flower on the same plant. Clear? You hear me? You hear me?
Yes يا مستر.
Okay.
ايوه يا مستر سامعين حضرتك.
Okay. From flower to another flower on same plant or the same flower, this is considered as self-pollination. Self-pollination. So what's the difference between two types of pollination? Cross-pollination and self-pollination. Self-pollination and the other kind, I will write it, cross-pollination. The difference between these two kinds of pollination, self means the pollination occurs on the same flower. On the same flower. Cross-pollination, which means the pollination or transferring of the male sex cell, which is pollen grains, from flower to another flower of same species. As the flower of pea plant considered as bisexual, so it allowed the two types of pollination. It allowed self-pollination and allowed cross-pollination. This is the reasons why Mendel chose pea plant. Reproduce quickly, produce many number of pea plants for one generation or pair one generation, and their flowers hermaphrodite or bisexual, so it allows mixed pollination or cross pollination and self pollination. After the pollination, Mendel start to remove and or cut the male reproductive organ from the flowers and covered the female reproductive organ of the flowers. Again, after pollination, I explained during Mendel experiment what Mendel do during the experiment. Firstly, choose the pea plants for many reasons as we explained, and start pollination. After occurrence of pollination, which means transfer of pollen grains from flower to another one or to the same flower, Mendel started to cut or remove the male reproductive organs and cover the female reproductive organ. Why? The question, why Mendel cut or remove the male reproductive organ and why he covers the female reproductive organ? Mendel want to be sure that the reproduction process or the production of offsprings 100% from its experiment, and there is no pollination from other kind of pea plant outside the garden, because he determined two kind of contrasting traits like white flowers and red flowers. So he want to be sure that the pollination and fertilization to produce new pea plant occurs under its under his control. So he removed after pollination, he removed the male reproductive organ and covers the female reproductive organ to be sure that the experiment still under his control. The first generation of the pea plant are red flowers. The pollination occurs between, and this slide explains the 7 contrasting traits as we explained in the last session. Pea shape, pea color, pod shape, pod color, plant height, flower color, and flower position, as we explained in the last session. Mendel chose red flower and white flower, and after the pollination of red flower with white flower, remove the male organ and covers the female organ, and wait for the offspring. He discovered that the first generation of the offspring are red, and he make another pollination, self-pollination between the flowers of the first generation, not the parent. Again, firstly, he choose pea plant flower and pea plant red flower and pea plant with white flower. These two plants, white flower and red flower, breeding together and produce offspring. The first generation of the production offspring are red. All the first generation red. The second step, Mendel start to self-pollination between the producing red flowers, the first generation. Okay? After the pollination between the red flowers, the first generation, the second generation have red and white flowers by the percent 3:1 or 75 red flowers and 25 white flowers. So Mendel said that there is trait appears in the first generation by 100%. This trait is called dominant. The traits which appears in the first generation by 100%. And the other type, recessive. Again, we have two types of heredity traits, not type of traits. The types of traits, heredity and acquired. Okay, but the types of heredity traits are dominant and recessive. Okay, the recessive traits, the difference between dominant and recessive. Don't forget these two traits. Both of them are heredity traits. Dominant means the traits which result in the first generation by 100%, which means all the first generation are dominant traits. Recessive traits doesn't appear in the first generation and start to appear from the second generation by 25 over pi ratio 3 to 1. It's clear?
مستر انا مش شايف الدوميننت دي لو هو الفيميل والميل، في واحد عنده جرين اي والتاني عنده براون اي، الدوميننت دي هي اللي هياخد الريبرودكشن هيطلع
The 7 pairs of contrasting traits in a pea flower plant. This is about other trait of pea plant. Mendel chose 2 pea plants. The first are tall, second are short. And the tall trait dominant over short trait. Tall traits dominant over short traits. So, what is your expectation about the first offspring? They will be tall or short?
طول.
By percent, hundreds. In second generation, but let me ask you, the second generation, what are the parents of the second generation and what are the parents of the first generation?
نعم تاني كده يا مستر ماشي.
Okay, I said that Mendel choose pea plant tall and pea plant short and start to reproduce both of them, breeding. Okay, we know
Okay.
that the tall trait is dominant over short trait, so we answer that the first generation will be tall plants. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. So in this breeding, this reproduction, the parent or what? The parent is tall plant and short plant, right?
Right.
I ask about second generation. Second generation
It
for
will be
the,
short and short or tall and tall.
again, please.
It will be short and short or tall and tall.
50-50, second generation?
Yes.
No, the second generation will be 3-1.
لا مستر معلش، انت حضرتك قصدك second generation من البيرنتس، يعني parents مختلفين ولا ال second reproduction؟
The question, the difference between parents of the first and second generation. You must know the difference between both of them. In this example, the parent of the first generation, tall and short plant, right?
Right.
They will reproduce tall plant, 100% of the first generation. Clear?
Yes.
What about F2, the second generation? Their parents will be tall and tall. Tall and tall.
Reproduction will be, the offspring will be
And
short.
3-1, 75 from the second generation will be tall. 25 of the second generation will be short.
Tall.
Short. Why tall?
يعني لو all tall يبقى ال 75 tall.
Okay, we will apply the same law on this, the second example. Mendel choose purple or red flower plant, pea plant, and white pea plant. This symbol between purple and white means reproduction. So it explains purple flower reproduce with white flower, and we know that red or purple flower is dominant over white. So the first generation, all of them will be purple or red, 5%, 100%. And the second generation resulted from the self-pollination between purple flowers. So the second generation will be 75 purple, 25 white, as you can see in this figure. Purple, white, the first generation will be purple. So self-pollination or self-fertilization occurs between first generation will produce second generation 3-1 or 75 purple or red, 25 white. Clear?
نعم يا مستر.
It's clear?
اللي هي ال 25 و 75. تمام.
Okay. This summary about the Mendel experiment, the first law of Mendel. P1 means first generation, cross mean breeding or reproduction, tall with short. All the first generation will be tall of the first generation. Second generation occurs as a result of the self-fertilizing between first generation, in this example, tall plants. So the result will be in second generation, 75 tall, 25 short, or 3-1. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. Mendel conclude that from the first law of, or the first experiments, the traits are inherited separately, not together, which means it is not or must be red flower with tall flower, short with white. Okay, each trait inherited individually, not depend on other traits. Clear? Clear?
معلش ممكن تاني.